You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Well, hi guys, welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited because we have Kelly Bluth today here to talk all things wellness and how to create your bright life, but with the wellness things that can really help boost your energy and your vitality and your gut health and your hormone health and all the things. So if you have not met Kelly, she is just someone who lights up a room with her energy. I was just telling her this a little bit ago, but I feel like the second you meet her, you are just drawn to her. You can feel it's just something palpable. And so I know you're going to feel that today. And I'm so excited to share her with you. She is the founder of Kelly B Holistic Wellness and the host of the Listening to Your Gut podcast. She supports ambitious women in healing chronic gut issues so they feel confident in their skin and helps them become their healthiest selves. And she's also a writer for many wellness brands, including ones that you may read or even use already. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, thank you, Jess. I so appreciate everything that you shared, and just your kindness means the world to me. And I reflect all of what you said about me back onto you because you are all of those things as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so well, maybe start out with bringing us in because have this beautiful podcast and business, and you help so many women even on your Instagram with Q&A and tips they can use to become healthier. So where did that passion start for you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. This whole me getting into health and wellness kind of started at an early age. My dad was diagnosed with heart disease when I was 15 and had to go in to have multiple stents put in his arteries for blockages. And he came out of that with his cardiologist coming to us and like letting us know that he was okay. But when he walked out, his face was like sheet white and we thought he was gone. And that really triggered me into like, oh my gosh, I'm not eating the best that I could. Let me fix that. Like I don't want to see myself go down the same path my dad did. And I'd always struggled with gut issues. And so I was like, this is my sign. My dad is dealing with this. This is a sign that I could be headed down that same path if I don't make a different choice. So yeah, long story short there, I ended up really getting into fitness first and then expanded. I was a very picky eater. I ate like 5 things and now I will eat everything. But along that path, from 15 to now 32, almost 33, like I said, I experienced a lot of gut issues, even in eating healthy food. And I was like, wait a second, this is not supposed to happen. I'm eating healthy food. Why am I still experiencing these adverse symptoms? And long story short there, I realized, through multiple tests and working with countless naturopaths and functional medicine practitioners, and even, conventional doctors, I realized it was really my nervous system was wreaking havoc on my gut health. And so in the last couple of years, I've really been honing in on really making sure that my body is sound and that I'm really focused on being more in the parasympathetic, rest and digest state. We can't always be there, but being there more consciously and doing what I can to prevent that go, always on the move feel. And that has helped me significantly, as well as just, constantly learning. I'm a learner at heart, so constantly educating myself and working with women. And then really, I've the past couple of months, I've really had this knack for sharing more about overall feminine gut health and just feminine hormones and how that impacts our gut health. And so, yeah, I've started to share more on that too, because I've noticed that in making tweaks to my own health and wellness routine, for the better, and really looking at, where I am in the phases of my cycle. That's really allowed me to process better what's happening to my body, but also to do things that are going to help make each phase of that process more effective and less experience less adverse symptoms than I did in the past. So yeah.
It's so interesting what you said about even with eating healthy, noticing that it was so much even more in some ways about that connection to the go, go, go and the stress.
Yep.
I think that culturally so many of us live with or even think is just normal.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that if a woman's listening and thinking, oh my gosh, that's me, I'm always trying to be healthy, I'm always trying to do the right things,
Yeah.
what are some ways that she can kind of support her nervous system and
Yeah.
get it back to a place where her body can really heal versus feeling like that fight or flight all the time?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me that's helped is knowing, because I love to move my body, is knowing when to move your body and how. And by that I mean truly as a woman, in the cycle years of our life, having a period, having a bleed, is knowing what those phases are and what movements are good for each phase. Because I was someone prior to the last couple of years, really prior to the pandemic, that would constantly go out for a run. And that's just not good on the body. There are two phases in particular of our cycle that when we are there, we need to be doing less intense movements because our body needs what little energy we have left to spare from all the other bodily functions it's using it for. We have little energy left to put forth to things like intense exercise, and that's where we start to see sometimes that extra or excess fatigue or the weight gain. And it's like, well, I'm going out there and doing a 5-mile run, but the scale is going up. And it's like, well, it's because your body's saying, hello, I don't have any extra energy left. So I'm now going to stress my body to the max, which means I'm going to hold on to excess food and excess fat. And yeah, so you are going to gain weight because you're not truly listening to what your body needs. So I would say, really moving in the phases of your cycle, understanding that, and that is not an overnight thing. That's definitely something that is my jam and I love to share. So if you want to know more about that, I can break it down into easy, manageable steps for you. If you reach out to me, I will absolutely share that with you. That would be one. The other thing too is just breathing. I know that we hear that all the time, and I'm sure some people will like roll their eyes and be like, really, Kelly, breathing? But I'm someone who, when I was go, 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 constantly moving and not taking time to be and breathe, I had really shallow breaths. And there were some times where I would catch myself like, my God, you're not breathing right now. Like you're barely breathing. And that does a lot to your body for the negative, like that really taxes your body. If you're not breathing, you're not getting adequate oxygen flowing through your body. And so making sure that you're breathing, effectively. So breathing in through your nose and then being able to breathe out through your mouth. Research has proven that breathing in through your mouth is not most effective because you get a whole lot of germs that are not, I guess, taken out through your nostril capacities. And so breathing in through your nose and then breathing out through your mouth is huge. And you don't need to do box breathing or whatever kind of breathing. If you want, great, but just simply breathe, a full breath, I think is huge. And I would say the third thing, when it comes to really regulating your nervous system is being able to effectively say that you have a good, solid sleep and wake cycle. Because again, I was someone, because I was go, 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 was getting maybe 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep a night and then getting up and rinsing and repeating and going again. And that also wreaks havoc on your body. It spikes your cortisol. Then you feel more hungry, you're more agitated and irritated, and not fun to be around. And so not only do you feel awful, but the people that you encounter are like, oh, I don't want to be around her, So, really prioritizing your rest, because that is going to help to rejuvenate your body. It's going to help you to be able to then get back in to that rest and digest state more easily.
I just think this stuff is so important because I think
Yeah.
so many people want to do the right thing and are trying, but
Yep.
it's like they're like, well, let me get the 5 a.m. workout in and then I'll compensate, on the sleep, and like I'll get 3 hours of sleep just so I can do the heavy run. And really,
Yeah.
that's like doing more harm, especially to women's bodies, than it
Yes.
actually helping them. So I think
Yep.
that stuff is just gold. And I love that we're actually having conversations now. I think it's one of the more positive things that's come out of social media is I see women talking openly about their cycles and like our hormones. And I don't know if past generations had the blessing of that, of just people being able to say, that we need to have more education around this. Like, how old are
Yeah.
we in our 30s when we finally heard that there's like 4 phases of a cycle and every
Right.
week is different? And it's like, it's so fascinating. So I love that that's part of it that you're taking into account
Yeah.
as well.
It's huge. And it's, to your point, it's something that, I mean, my mom is not currently here with us anymore, but it's something that when she, taught me about my period, that never even came up, because I'm almost certain she never knew that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Either previous generations, one, did not know, or it just wasn't talked about. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's so interesting. And so for you, I think another really cool part of your story is you have taken this even beyond changing your own life and the women that you connect with, but you really built a business where you can support even more women through this as well. So can you tell me a little bit about why you decided to do that, what that was like? Because for anyone listening who has a dream like that, they probably know it comes with all kinds of emotions, and building something and putting yourself out there is a big deal. So bring us into that side a little bit too.
Oh yeah, it's an exciting one, but again, it's also very daunting because again, I'm currently a full-time school teacher, and so I mean, never had dabbled in anything entrepreneurial wise. So why did I do it? Well, I first got, like I said, really into health and wellness during the pandemic. I was home teaching, and I thought, you know what? I'm not moving my body as much. I need to learn more about just how I can move at home more effectively. Got into a couple of different things, got into social media more. I was really kind of not on social media that much during the beginning of the pandemic, and then I was like, I can't talk to anyone right now other than through technology, so let me get on social media and really explore that. So I got onto Instagram for the first time. I had never been on before, and I started following health and wellness, influencers.
Mhm.
And I came across one in particular who was a former school teacher, and she went back to become certified as a holistic nutritionist. And I was like, man, I need to do that. Like, I want to go back and do that. If she can do it, I can do it. So I did. And at first I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this to help me figure out myself and what's going on with my body. And hopefully, because I've been getting the runaround from, conventional doctors, which again have their place and I still go to them, but I wasn't getting what I needed from them. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go outside of that. I'm gonna go past Western medicine and look and explore further out. And so I did. And initially, like I said, I did it for me, just to help me heal my body. And then once I realized it was working and it was effective, I was like, why wouldn't I share this with people? Why wouldn't I tell people that it is possible to heal yourself? Because if I figured out a way to do it, and I had lots of stuff going on, bloating, constipation, gas, brain fog, fatigue. I mean, the whole gamut. I could list on and on for days. If I can fix that stuff, then I can help other people to do that too, in a manageable way, in a way that makes sense for them. And I think most importantly, I can do that while being an active listener, because I felt for so long I was sharing how I was feeling and it was going in one ear and out the other, and I wasn't being heard the way that I needed to be. And so I was giving to women what they needed in return, which was somebody hearing what was the problem that they were dealing with and what they've been dealing with, and how can we work together to start making manageable changes to help them heal themselves, in a way that's not overwhelming, in a way that doesn't feel like it's not doable.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's such a valid thing to reiterate for anyone who's listening, is like, if you feel like you aren't being heard in a doctor's office, or I hear a lot of times people saying that they, are kind of being told that they're making things up or it's not as bad. And it's like, go find someone like Kelly who knows that you're not making it up and it's not in your head and it is that bad, and is going to actually walk with you and help you fix it, versus just saying, come back in a year or everything looks normal, so good luck. It's like, it's just so beautiful that there's people out there like you who can affirm that for someone and then actually take them to the finish line of, let's figure this out and find a solution here.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes me, it's like a kid on Christmas is what I equate it to. Like when I get to help women, I feel like that's the greatest gift of all, because I know it's worked for me and I know that what I can do to support them can help them to fix their issues. And I want to also be clear in that while it sounds like, oh, well, let me just clone what Kelly did and I will be just fine. That's not how it works. Every person, every body is different. So when I work with women, I am not making a protocol that is rinse and repeat and copy, right? Every person that I work with, every woman that I work with has a different protocol that I create with them together so that we can attack head on the issues that they're dealing with, and in a manageable way, start to decrease those and remove those unwanted adverse symptoms.
Yes, so good. Now, another thing that I admire about you and am loving following your journey on is I got to know you even more through my copywriting program, Bright Life Biz. And so love that you're expanding that, because now, even beyond the one-on-one clients you can reach, you are able to write and reach more people through education and your articles. So, but I know that's almost like learning a new skill, right? And you have learned new skills through fitness and through nutrition. And so would love to just hear your advice for anyone who is getting these feelings of, gosh, it'd be great if there was something that I wanted to pursue or that I was passionate about or that I could go back to school for. But they're like, but I'd be a beginner again. And that's so scary. Like, any thoughts there? Because I think you really beautifully have always been a learner and pursued just that evolution in your life.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I mean, you hit it on the head there. I think for me, it is just a natural progression because I am just someone who constantly wants to keep learning and growing. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing that, because to my last day here on earth, I want to be constantly knowing and learning more about so many different things. But I would say the first thing that came to mind when you asked that was, get someone in your corner that believes in you, that can be your cheerleader. Because I know, this is totally transparent. When I first heard about Jess's course, I was like, oh, I don't know, should I do this? And then I went back and forth with Jess, and Jess is that cheerleader for me. She was, is, and will forever be that cheerleader for me. And you need someone like that. And Jess is that person. She can be for you too. That will remind you that, yes, like, take that step, take that leap. Because I needed her to say that to me. I knew I wanted to do it, and I needed her to confirm that. Sometimes you need someone on the outside who's not in your immediate space to reflect the things that you're feeling, and to reflect the things that could be if you take that next step. And just, again, was that person for me. So I think, I had experience writing before, but not professionally, for sure. And I'm currently writing a healing collaborative book with 3 other incredible women, and I'm writing a picture book on gut health for kids. So I mean, I'm in the beginning stages of those. Well, some of the beginning stages of that in terms of publishing. But yeah, I mean, copywriting was like I mean, I'll be quite honest, before hearing about the course and Jess, I thought, wait, copywriting is like what you do when you want, like, to have the rights to things, right? And even to this day, some people are like, is that what you're talking about? I'm like, no, it's the other copywriting where you're like writing for people and making a huge impact on what you're doing, with the written word. So yeah, I would just say, if you're a lifelong learner like me, it's going to be a little bit easier because you just naturally want to take that next step. But even like me, there was a little bit of hesitancy. And so I think whether you are like me or not, the universal thing that I could share would be you need somebody in your corner that is going to see that you are wanting to take those next steps. And even if they don't know what it is that you're wanting to do, that they're going to champion you time and time again and say, like, I believe in you. I will be your accountability partner. If you say you want to do that, I'm going to check in with you and make sure that you did that. So I think having someone that you can count on, could be virtual, could be someone who lives very close to you, could be a family member or friend, whoever it is. I think that is huge in helping you to make that next step because, I think a lot of times we feel like we've got to do it alone, but you really don't. There are so many people out there that want to help you and that want to support you, and they don't know that you need that support and that help if you don't ask for it. So I think asking for someone to be with you, to cheerlead you through that process, is one of the best things you can do for yourself.
Love that. And love that you pointed out that it can be online. It can be a virtual thing. Cause I'm sure some people are like, well, I don't have that in my friends or my family group or my town. And it's like, we met online. And so that's been the case for many of even my mentors and stuff. So I love that you even wove that into your story of like, this can be something you find online, on like meetup websites, on courses, on things happening in your area, on social media accounts. Like, I mean, I've DM'd authors that I love or emailed them and been like, I have 10 minutes of your time. And you never know where those things can go. So
Yeah.
I love that that's kind of what you called out for anyone in any part of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say, like, I love what you have pointed out, I think, around the feminine side being really powerful when it comes to even experimenting with learning different things and tapping into your creativity, using it for your health. What are some ideas or ways if someone feels like they're in a very masculine go, go, go space that they can even start to tune in to that more just feminine side and the qualities that may help their overall health and life overall?
Yeah, I think one of the easy, I hope this would be easy. The first thing that comes to mind for me would be to move your body. And I think one of maybe the most universal ways would be walking. So whether you have a treadmill because maybe you can't go outside, the area around you is maybe not conducive to that, or you can walk outside, where you live, and move your body. I would say that is one of the best ways to start this process of tapping into your feminine, because it just allows you to take a pause. And when you're moving your body, all those worries and the to-dos that are, the to-dos are the masculine, those leave your mind for a while because your body is just in tune with nature. And, you're able to more focus on, well, if you're outside, you're able to focus on the trees. Here in Ohio, the leaves are starting, I'm looking outside, the leaves are starting to change color. So, going out and experiencing the seasons and just being, I feel like, grateful. That leads into the next part is being grateful, maybe developing a gratitude list, whether that's you do it on your phone, you do it in your head. For me, I have a journal that every morning, like clockwork, I wake up and I have a routine. And the first thing I do is I open up this journal and I write down at least 5 things that I'm grateful for. And that helps me to, again, tap into my feminine, because it reminds me of all the things that I've experienced or I've had the opportunity to be blessed with or connected to people or experiences. And it starts my day off on this very blessed, joyous vibe, which would not be the case if I woke up and was like, and here we go. What's the first thing on the to-do list, So I think those would be my 2 go-tos. for someone just starting out is move your body. Walking would be great, whether it's in a gym if you need to do it or outside if you can would be ideal. And then starting to develop a gratitude list in whatever way, like I said, feels most comfortable to you. I think those two things have been life-changing for me. That gratitude list, I mean, so simple, right? It seems so simple. And at first it was very hard for me to be consistent, but now it's like I wake up and it's my go-to thing. And it makes me feel so good because I realize, wow, all these things that I am privileged to write down, it's because I've made these connections or I've had these opportunities to do these things. And so, yeah, it just really changes your perspective on life.
Yeah, so powerful. It's like I feel like gratitude's one of those things that's underrated because you're like, oh, gratitude, but it's like you almost cannot hold an anxious or obsessive or fearful thought at the same time as gratitude. So it's almost like just shifting your brain to be like in a space that feels good, that feels neutralizing to your body, that actually starts to feel really good and joyful and begets more gratitude. So I'm really glad you called that out because what a beautiful, simple practice that someone can roll out of bed, or just reach for their journal. And that's the first way they start their day before the news or social media or the to-do list is just
Yeah.
like, remembering that gratitude and then walking in nature, feeling like the peace that brings, or at a gym, or just getting your body moving and your circulation. So good.
Yeah, I'm all about simplicity. I think if it's too hard, we don't want to do it. Right. And then because of that, we don't stick to it. The consistency is not there. And I go back and forth on the importance of consistency. I mean, that is debatable in certain things, but for you to feel good, things like gratitude really do need to be consistent because otherwise, for myself as an example, if I were to not do that for a long period of time, months and months on end, I know for a fact I would start to develop previous tendencies, that I used to have 3-4 years ago, where I was in very much so a negative mindset,
Mhm.
which also contributed to that fight or flight state of my body and why my nervous system was such a wreck. So yeah, simplicity I feel like is the best way to be, and just making it doable
Mm.
is what I'm all about.
Yeah. Would you say it's almost like an anchor to your day? It's like
Yeah,
that's a little simple practice that anchors the rest of your day almost.
I love that. I love that. Yep.
So I have one more question for you, and then I want you to share where people can get in touch with your fabulous self. But I'd love to hear. So, since this is the Bright Life podcast, what does a bright life look like to you, to Kelly?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this question. I love your book. I love you. I love everything about this. So, yeah, what does a bright life look like to me? It looks like, and I'm just going to say like generically for myself, it looks like me doing the things that are lighting me up and pushing past my perceived limits. Really realizing that I have this unlimited potential. We all do. And tapping into the next step, whatever that is for me, is going to continue to propel me forward and continue to reach, wherever I desire to go. So yeah, that's what the bright life looks like for me.
Love that. Unlimited. Yes, we are unlimited. What a beautiful, even affirmation. I know we were talking about those earlier, but
Yeah.
like really believing that and owning it of like, I can do anything. And you'll see a step here, a step there. But like the fact that that's the overarching belief is so good. I love that. And so, where can people get in touch with you, whether they want to work with you as a health coach, or they are like, hey, I have a wellness podcast, a wellness brand. I'd love a writer to help me strategically or offload some of that writing. Where can they find you or
Oh,
listen
I
to
would
the podcast?
Yes, yes, thank you. Yes. I think the best way to connect with me would be through Instagram because pretty much every other way to connect with me is linked through the link tree there. So my website is linked there. You can also email me at kellybholisticwellness.com or at gmail.com. And yeah, I mean, I'm on all social medias. I have a podcast Facebook community that is completely free where we do lots of things on a monthly basis to just help you with your health and wellness. The podcast, of course. And if you want to work with me, you can go to my website, which is linked in my bio on Instagram. And then, I would love to connect with any wellness brands that are looking for a writer. That is one of my biggest passions right now. So just connect with me through social media or through my email. Again, Kelly B Holistic Wellness at gmail.com would be awesome. And just thank you so much for giving me the space to share, as well as just thank you for what you've given me, the confidence that you've given me to build my copywriting business. Like I said earlier, I'm eternally grateful for you and our friendship, and you're just a blessing. So I appreciate you so much.
Likewise, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your wisdom and just your beautiful heart and spirit. I'm so grateful as well. So we'll drop the links where you can find Kelly below as well if you just want to click that. But thank you so much for everything you shared today as well. Thank you so much for listening in. If you love this episode, I have 2 things you are going to love. One is a free copywriter training full of 5 steps to build a profitable copywriting business as your own boss, no matter how much experience you're starting with. Copywriting is what took me from a 9-to-5 to freedom as my own boss, to travel, choose my schedule, replace my corporate income, and have time to work on creative projects like this podcast. And I'd love to give other women the same opportunity. Another, of course, is my book, Your Bright Life. You can find it on Amazon or Audible, where I narrate the audiobook, so it's kind of like a podcast in book form. All of these things are in the podcast show notes. Thank you again for listening. I appreciate you and your review so much, and I'll see you back here next Thursday.